Hi, and welcome back to Disability at Work, the podcast where we explore what real inclusion looks like in the workplace. I'm your host, Ashley Sims, and today I want to talk about something that we have thought a lot about over the last year here at Disability Solutions: psychological safety and what that means at work. This is the belief that your workplace is a safe environment, one where you feel comfortable asking for what you need and whether or not you disclose a disability. This episode is a preview of what's coming next month in our 2026 Disability at Work Survey report, because the data this year tells a very clear story. Psychological safety is fragile, and right now, it is under real pressure. When we talk about psychological safety in the workplace, we are not talking about comfort or perks. We are talking about whether people believe they can speak honestly without fear of retaliation or negative consequences. For disabled workers, that question often shows up as: is it safe for me to disclose my disability? Is it safe to ask for accommodations? Is it safe to trust my manager with this part of myself? And increasingly, the answer we are hearing is no. In this year's survey, more than half of respondents told us they do not feel safe disclosing a disability in the current climate. Only a small percentage said they feel completely safe. Nearly 6 in 10 believe that disclosing a disability negatively impacts their job prospects or how they are treated at work. And that is a huge warning sign. We started conducting the Disability at Work survey in 2024. We surveyed disabled job seekers and employees to find out what they are really going through in their pursuit of work or career opportunities. One of the things we focused on this year was how broader rollbacks and DEI efforts are affecting disabled workers. What we found is that people are paying attention. About 55% of respondents told us they are now less willing or more cautious about disclosing a disability specifically because of corporate or government rollbacks on DEI. That hesitation is not hypothetical. It is shaping real decisions about whether to ask for support or not. Half of respondents also said the national backlash against DEI has negatively affected their sense of belonging at work. That matters because psychological safety does not exist in a vacuum. It is shaped by signals, policies, leadership statements, budget decisions, and what gets quietly deprioritized all send a message about who is protected and who is not. In this year's survey, 60% of respondents said they have requested a workplace accommodation. Of those, more than half described the process as very or extremely challenging, and over a quarter had their requests denied. 14% were still waiting, and among people whose requests were denied, nearly 9 out of 10 said they did not receive a clear explanation. When someone asks for an accommodation, they are taking a risk. They're trusting that the system will respond fairly. When the trust is broken, it does not just affect one request. It shapes how safe everyone feels showing up honestly in the future. Psychological safety is built or lost in moments like these. I want to take a minute to talk about data, and you're probably getting sick of hearing me talk about it, but this is where inclusion often gets lost. Some organizations are stepping back from tracking disability hiring or workforce data, either out of fear, uncertainty, or the belief that it is no longer required or necessary. Our data tells a different story, and actually, the disabled community wants to see more data. 58% of our respondents said continued disability data tracking is important for accountability and inclusion. And people want transparency. They want to know that disability inclusion is being measured, and even people who may not fall into a disability category want to know their employers are inclusive. If you're not tracking who is being hired, who is advancing, who is requesting accommodations, and how long those requests take to resolve, you're not managing inclusion in any real way. One of the strongest signals that came from this year's findings is the role managers play in shaping safety. 71% of respondents said manager tracking on disability rights and inclusion would make the biggest difference in rebuilding trust. Managers are often the first point of contact for disclosure. They're the ones setting the tone in one-on-one conversations. They're the ones interpreting policy in real time. When managers are unsupported or untrained, psychological safety breaks down fast. When they are equipped, consistent, and accountable, trust has a chance to grow. If there is one takeaway from this year's survey, it is this: psychological safety is created in systems workplaces use every day. It lives in how disclosure is handled, how accommodations are processed, whether retaliation is actively prevented, and whether disability inclusion is treated as a core part of workforce strategy, even when external pressure is increased. Pulling back quietly does not go unnoticed. Disabled workers feel it immediately. As we get closer to releasing the full 2026 Disability at Work Survey report, I want to leave you with one simple question. If someone on your team needed support today, would they feel safe asking? That question is at the heart of psychological safety, and right now it deserves real attention. If you want to learn more about how organizations can turn this kind of insight into action, I invite you to explore the work we do here at Disability Solutions. We partner with employers to strengthen inclusive hiring, improve accommodation practices, and use disability data responsibly, so inclusion is rooted in action and outcomes. We also support job seekers with disabilities through accessible job opportunities, resources, and community outreach through our global network of more than 19,000 talent partners. You can learn more at disabilitytalent.org. And if you're interested in hearing the lived experiences behind these issues, check out our sister podcast, Changing Minds and Changing Lives, hosted by Julie Soash. That show goes deeper into the stories of people with disabilities and the advocates and trailblazers who are shaping change. Thank you for listening today, and if this episode resonated with you, I hope you'll share it with someone who has influence in workplace culture. These conversations matter, and they move change forward when we keep having them. See you next time.